another episode of Financial Freeway. My name is David J. Howard. I'm the man rocking the Ray-Bans. And today at work was Bring Your Dog to Work Day. And I always love that. There's something about dogs that I really, really love. There's a theory that we evolved to be the dominant species on Earth because we domesticated dogs to work with us. And what had happened was, if you think about wild animals, think of a deer. Like, we have lots of deer in this town running around, and they're very twitchy. So they don't actually really get that sleep. And so we weren't able to get that sleep. Like, we were probably twitchy just like the rest of the wild animals were. So you hear a little twig snap in the middle of the night, you're up and awake. So you never get to that full, really, really deep sleep where you can dream and you can get that really good brain exercising, which is really important. That didn't happen for us until we domesticated the dog. So when the dog started barking, that was our alarm. So if the dog wasn't barking, we were able to actually relax and sleep. And that's where our minds grew to where they are today, to where we can dream, we can think, we can forecast, we can speak complex languages, complex problem solving. This would have never happened if it wasn't for us domesticating the dog and us working in partnership with each other. So we owe a lot of our humanity to the dog. And like I say, I absolutely adore dogs. So having the workplace filled with dogs was a really great treat. But it was funny, I went up to one dog that I'd met before, and this dog last time was all over me, jumping on me, sniffing me, licking me. So I went out and said, oh, there he is again. So I thought I'd go out there and it'd be the same thing. Like, he'd be so excited to see me. And it ended up, I think I had the reek of desperation on me, because I was like, hey, pet me, love me. The dog was like, it was a golden retriever, so they're usually pretty amenable. They're pretty friendly animals. But he was just like, yeah, whatever. Just not as excited to see me as I was to see him. So that was kind of a heartbreaking moment. But it was a great day. I love dogs, and I've had dogs all my life. This is the only time that I haven't had a dog, and I really miss it. I really miss not having a dog. I really miss having a dog in the house. I really miss that, that reception you get when you've been gone for a couple of hours. I miss having someone to play with, get roughhouse with. But in order for us, me and Gabby, to be traveling, we realized we made the decision to not bring a new pet into our lives, because we weren't ever going to be able to, but we weren't right now able to give a dog a stable life, and we'd have to put him up in boarding kennels for time or burden the family with them. So we didn't want to do that, so we decided no pets. So I get my joy vicariously through other pet owners, other dog owners, which is good enough. It's the methadone to my canine addiction, and it takes the edge off, which is really nice. Anyways, one of the things I did today is I did this brush and conditioner in my beard just before I left, and I'm wondering, I haven't had a chance to really look it up, but I feel like it's really poofy. Anyways, I'll have a look at the video when I'm editing this. Anyways, today I wanted to talk about decision making. Decision making, I feel, is not really spoken about a lot. And I have a friend, a dear friend, and a very intelligent friend, who always seems to get these really high up positions with these companies. And I don't know how it is in his industry, but he tends to bounce from company to company quite a bit. And so we went out one time for breakfast, and while we were out, he was struggling over the menu really, really badly. And he was almost panicking, like absolutely panicking with having to make a decision. So I started thinking about it, and every time we went out, we actually went out more than once. We went out a lot of times for lunch or breakfast. And I watched him panic with the decision of what to eat. And then when he finally did make the decision of whatever it was he was going to eat, it was always with this defeated, oh, I guess I'll just have this then. And it was almost like he was mad at himself because he had to make that decision. And it always frustrated me because I'd sit down and I'd know what I want, make my decision like that. And when I'm ordering coffee at the Starbucks, or I'll say Starbucks, I don't usually have a Starbucks coffee, but I'm ordering coffee somewhere, I don't, well, to make things easier for me, I just always drink it black. So I never have to add anything to it. It's just black, blonde roast, pike, whatever it is. The whole point is that I make my decisions quickly. And if there is something where a decision has to be made, I will minimize the stress of me having to make that decision by simplifying what I need. Einstein was famous for always wearing the same outfit. And the truth of the matter is that all his outfits were actually the same. And the reason he did that is he didn't want to take up the brain space to have to sit there every day and make a decision as to what to wear. So he wore the same thing every day. I've taken that philosophy to heart a little bit with something like when we go out, if I go for breakfast, I know exactly what I want every time. And when I'm going out for coffee, I know what I want. When I'm going out for a drink with the guys, I know what I want. I know what I want, and when I go into the restaurant, and then using this as an example, this is just how I live my life. I know what I want. I open up the menu, I look to see if they have it, I close the menu, I order it. I don't burden myself with looking at all the different options. I don't burden myself with the fact that I might be missing out on something new and exciting. I don't ever do that. Now, I'll do that when I'm on vacation. But when I'm in a restaurant, meeting someone, or I'm going for a beer, or whatever the case is, I make most of my life is set up in patterns and formulas to make the decision-making an easy process. I struggle with understanding why people would spend a lot of time deciding on how to make their coffee or what breakfast they want to drink or eat. I have a tough time in my mind understanding why people don't recognize how precious time is and how these snap decisions can be made. And also, not just that, but it takes stress off of you. It takes stress off you as well as your brain isn't having to work extra hard. Your brain doesn't take those decision-making processes off. Get things simplified in your life. Learn to make decisions quicker. Exercise that. It's like anything. Like today I picked up the guitar I hadn't picked up in a couple of days, and I noticed there were some chords I was having a tough time with, and like, oh, I really got to be practicing every day if I want to keep those chords up. So it's the same thing with being in that decision-making process. Get into the habit of making snap decisions, making decisions quickly. A lot of times the reason people don't make decisions quickly is because it's fear of missing out, and then there's the fear of making a mistake. The fear of making the wrong choice is what stops people from making decisions. When I was an optician and I sold eyeglasses, I had in my store about 2,000 different shapes of frames. People would walk in, and older people would walk in and they'd say, I remember when there was 2 types of frames you could buy, wire and turtle shell, and that was it. Tortoise shell, sorry. And there was no designs, there was no decisions to be made. It wasn't about fashion. It was about just being practical, just having something practical to put on your face that had it was perfunctory. So the decision making was